Sec 1, Chapter 5, 5.2b, Simple Equations in One Variable. Now, in this part of the chapter, we will be able to learn how to form linear equations to solve problems. Now, some of the strategies and skills that we'll be using is, number one, we'll to use some letter to represent the unknown that we want to find. For example, let x be the present age of John. Okay. And then number two, we will use the variable that we have formed, okay, to express all the other quantities in terms of x. And we'll use the given information to form an equation. Then we solve the equation and complete the answer. 5.2b word problems, exercise number 4. Now this is in chapter 5, part 2 of your handouts, so please turn to the correct page. Now, question number 4, 3 consecutive numbers add up to 453. What do you mean by consecutive numbers? For example, if I have the number 1, what will be the next consecutive number? 2. What's the next consecutive number? 3. How do I find these numbers? The difference is I add a 1 to each of the different terms. So for example, if I start with 97, what's the next consecutive number? I'll add 1 to get 98. And then what's the next consecutive number? I'll add 1 more to 98 to get 99. So if I were to have the first consecutive number, I'm going to use my first first step. Let x be the first number. So if that's the case, if x is the first number, how do we find the second consecutive number? That will be, I add 1 to x and give me x plus 1. Now, how do I find the third consecutive number? I'll add 1 more to x plus 1, and that gives me x plus 2. Now, I will have these 3 numbers. The 3 numbers are x plus 1, and x plus 2. Question says that they add up to 453, meaning I'll have x plus 1 plus x plus 2 to give me 453. Simplifying our equation on the left-hand side, we'll get a total of 3x plus 3 to be equals to 453. How do we solve this equation? 3x will be equals to 453 minus 3, 450. And to get 1 unit of x, we divide by 3 to give me 150. Find the largest number in my question. So largest number will be x plus 2. So I'll take x to be 150 plus 2. The largest number will be 152. Have you gotten the answer? A farmer has some chickens and twice as many cows on his chickens. Okay, so that means this one I'll have a times 2. So if there are a total of 200 legs among all the animals, wow. Okay, one chicken have how many legs? A chicken have 2 legs and a cow have 4 legs. Form an equation, find the number of chickens that he has. So I'm going to use step number 1. What should we let x be? What do we want to find? So let x be the number of chickens. Right? So the number of chicken is x. And how many legs will there be for the number of chickens? Each chicken have 2 legs, so that will be 2x. What is the number of chicken? What is the number of cows? The number of cows is twice as many as the number of chickens. How many legs will he have? Will the counts have in total? Each count have 4 legs. And the number of counts is 2x. So there will be a total of 8x number of legs. The question says, now this information here, there is a total of 200 legs. So that means I will take a total number of chickens plus the counts with the legs to be 200. Can you solve this equation? Simplifying our equation, we get 10x to be 200. Therefore, x to be equals to 20. Answer. Exercise 6. Now the 3 angles of a triangle are something, all these numbers respectively. Now let's draw out our triangle. The first one is angle x, one x plus 10, and another one 2x minus 50. Write down an equation in x. Now given these 3 angles, what do we know about these 3 angles? Well, the sum of angles in a triangle is equals to 180. That means the first angle plus the second one and the third angle will give me a total of 180 degrees. Simplify our equation on the left-hand side. We get a total of 4 units of x minus 40 to be equals to 180. How are we going to find the solution for x? 4x is now equals to 180. We should not have units in our equation. Plus 40. That gives me 220. And I have 4x. So how do I find the value of 1x? It gives me 55. Have I answered to the question? Question says, hence find the largest angle. Which of them is the largest angle? I have x to be 55. If that's the case, x plus 10 will now be 55 plus 10, which is 65. 2x minus 50 will now give me 2 times 55. My x value has now changed to 55. Minus 50, and this angle will be 60 degrees. So compared to these 3 angles, which angle is the largest angle? Therefore, we answer to the question, largest angle is 65 degrees. Have you gotten the answer? Exercise number 7. John took 3 hours to drive such a distance. What do we know about distance, time, and speed? Okay, let's take a look. We know that we have this following DST for distance, time, and speed. John took 3 hours to drive 2x minus 7 kilometers. Mary took 40 minutes longer than John to drive this distance. Now let's take a look here. This is 3 hours. This is 40 minutes. The number of units here are not equal, not the same type of units. So if I have kilometers and I want to find the speed will now be in terms of kilometers distance divided by time, kilometers per hour. So do I change 3 hours or do I change 40 minutes? In this case, I will change 40 minutes into hours. So how many minutes are there in 1 hour? 60. So I'll simplify 40 over 60 to be 2 over 3. Now question says that John and Mary drove at the same speed. What is the speed for John? Speed is given by distance divided by time. So the distance that he drove was 2x minus 7. Divide by the time taken, 3 hours. This is in kilometers per hour. Let's now find the time taken by Mary and the speed that she had. Now, Mary took 14 minutes longer than expected. So that means the time taken by Mary is originally John took 3 hours at a total of 2/3. How do we get this answer to be in fraction form? This is in improper fraction form 11/3. Now, how do we find the speed taken by Mary? So speed by Mary will be taking the distance that she drive, x plus 11, divided by the time 11/3. But we notice that there is a fraction over here, improper fraction. So I shall write it as divide by 11/3. Now, how do I deal with division? I can change the division to multiplication. And when I do that, the fraction at the back will swap position. It will become 3/11. Simplifying this, I will get 3 times x plus 11/11. So this is the speed for Mary. Next part of the question. Given that John and Mary drove at the same average speed, so speed by John is 2x minus 7/3. This speed is equals to the speed by Mary. How can we solve the equation now? Let's take a look. We have a pair of brackets over here. So what we can do, we are going to expand out our brackets first. And I'll get 3x plus 33/11. Now, we can do a cross multiplication. Having said that, what will we get? Equal sign stays in the center. The denominator 3 cross over to be multiplied to this. And the denominator 11 cross over to be multiplied to this. So now we have our equation over here. Expanding our equations, we will get 11 groups of 2x, that will be 22x, minus 11 groups of 7, 77, 3 groups of 3x, 9x, plus 99. Rearranging our equations, our like terms together, 22x will minus 9x, and 99 plus 77. And we'll get 13x and 176. Now, how do we find 1 units of x? And x will be 176 divided by 13. But is this what we want to find? The question asks us to find the distance that John drove. So John drove a total distance of 2x minus 7 kilometers. Therefore, distance covered is now 2 times x minus 7. And the x value is 176/13. Right, and then we'll get the answer 110 1/3 kilometers. Exercise number 8. 10 years ago, Brian was twice as old as his brother Ken. Now the sum of their age is 44 years. Find the present age of Ken. So in this case, we'll start off with our first step. Let x be the present age of Ken. Right? And now, what do we know? We have the present age of Ken to be x. What is 10 years ago? Ken's age will be x minus 10 years old. And what will be Brian's age? Brian was twice as old as his brother. So that will be 2 times x minus 10. Can we simplify this? We'll get 2x minus 20 years old. Now, present age. Ken is now x plus 10. That means x years old. And Brian will be 2x minus 20 at another 10 years old. And we'll get 2x minus 10. Question says, now the present age, the sum of their age is 44. So we'll do a sum of their present age. So that will be x plus 2x minus 10 to be equals to 44. So simplifying, we get the equation. And 3x will be 44 plus 10, 54. And x will be 18. So Ken's present age is 18 years old. Exercise number 9. The price of a book is $11 less than half the price of a calculator. So that means this is related to the price of a calculator. The total price of 3 books and 2 calculators is so on and so forth. Find the total price of 4 books and 3 calculators. Now, we know that the price of the book is $11 less than half the price of a calculator. So in this case, we shall let x be the price of the calculator. If calculator is x dollars, how much is the price of a book? Now, firstly, we have half the price of a calculator. So half the price of the calculator means half of x. And then they tell us that it is $11 less than this. So we have half x minus $11 for the price of a book. Now they give us the information, total price of 3 books and 2 calculators. So we want 3 books and 2 calculators to be equals to 229.50. So 3 books will be half x minus 11. 2 calculators will be x. So simplifying our equation, we have a pair of brackets here. What do? We expand out the answers and we'll get this to be 3 times half. That will give you 3 over 2x minus 3 times 11, 33, plus 2x to be 229.50. Now notice that I have a denominator over here and I personally don't like denominators. So what can I do? I can multiply by 2 to every single term to remove the denominator. Multiply to everything, I'll get, the denominator cancels away, I'll get 3x, 66, 4x, and this will be 459. Simplifying our equations, that is 7x minus 66 to be 459. And 7x will now be 459 plus 66. And 7x to be equals to 525. Therefore, 1 unit of x will be 525 divided by 7. That gives me $75. So now I know the price of a calculator. Now, question does not end here. They ask us to find the price of 4 books, 3 calculators. So I know now that the price of the calculator is $75. The price of 1 book will be how much? We have half times 75 minus 11. That gives us $36.5. So now I want to find the price of 4 books and 3 calculators. It will be 4 books plus 3 calculators, and a total of $331. Have you gotten the answer? Now that we have finished this part of the chapter, let us recap a little bit of our skills. We can form linear equations to solve word problems using the following steps. Number 1, we use a letter to represent the unknown. We express the other quantities in terms of x, and we try to use the given information to form an equation. Then we solve, and we must get back to answer to the question. Now please complete the following parts of your homework. Textbook exercise 5.4, question 3, 5, 6, and 12.